And I'm back. Hello, everyone. Again, thank you so much for your kind understanding in regards to the video earlier this morning. My family came in mid-show and a lot happened. My dad had a big case today, so I wanted to figure out whether or not that went well. My mom wanted to have lunch with me. Of course, the dogs got agitated and ran all over the place, so we had to keep an eye on little manses. And then my sister reached out to me, and apparently her friend's boyfriend found two stray kittens, one with a very nasty, busted, inflated, blind eye that we may or may not be taking in. So yeah, a lot happened in the course of an hour. Also, there is a snake on the front porch just chilling out under the cushions, a non-venomous one, thank goodness, but a snake nonetheless. Let's get that turned on. What happened to my banner? Why did it go blue? This will not stand. There we go. So we will be finishing what we started. Share screen, share screen. We only have a few more pages too. So let's see, share. Yeah, we have like 4 or 5 more pages. And we just finished reading through all this. Thus, we can be certain that aeon means a period of time. It is the longest segment of time known in the scriptures. It is not used to speak of endless time or of any foggy philosophical speculations about eternity. He who is living for the eons. Likewise, concerning God's living for the eons in Revelations 4, 9, 10, and 10, 6, and 15, 7, it is only because this expression is unfamiliar to us that it seems awkward or difficult. A parallel familiar expression should make this evident. Were we to declare that God is living today, this would be found quite acceptable. It becomes evident then that it is just as sensible, even if most are not familiar with the expression, to declare that God will be living tomorrow, namely in the glorious scriptural morrow of the oncoming eons. The fact that he who is living during this current eon or era will also be living for, literally into, the eons of time ahead, as constitutes a further word of assurance concerning his providential care during these future long eras of time. Meaning, just saying that God is living for the eons does not exclude him living from outside the eons. Capital D, duh. It is to be regarded that the hazy English for can be misused in connection with the eons. The literal rendering into, in such cases, however, would unduly strain English idiom. Oppressors imprudently couple for with their own gratuitous inference only for, in order to disprove the meaning of aeon as eon. This is done in order to make the meaning aeon appear to be obviously mistaken with regard to the revelation that God is living estos aeonos ton aeon. For the eons of the eons concordant version, I butchered the Greek, please forgive me. The authorized version reading, or rendering, God who liveth forever and ever, adds to the confusion and lends support to the popular the misunderstanding from a mistranslation. For it makes the reference appear to be the length of God's life when it instead is a reference to a particular time during which God will be living. God who is living for the eons of the eons. Concordant version. Inasmuch as the word aeon appears in both cases or classes of passages, crude reasonings from the usual mistranslations of those passages which interconnect God or Christ, Revelations 1:18, a form of the word life, and the word aeon are routinely set forth as clear proof in favor of everlasting or aeonian punishment, e.g. Matthew 25:46. That is, since God liveth forever and ever, and it is felt that the thought here must be that his life never ends, it is concluded, wrongfully so, that the punishment of the lost must likewise be endless, since the same Greek word is used concerning these respective revelations. This conclusion, however, is based on mistaken premises, ones which are derived from false inferences and mistranslation. Number 1, the injunction of only for into for in relation to the phrase for the eons, while failing to note the literal into to. The Authorized Version mistranslation liveth lives in modern English instead of the correct form is living. In 3, the gross mistranslation forever and ever instead of the accurate rendering for the eons of the eons. So that verse is absolutely butchered and beaten every which way from Sunday. Whenever we read the expression for the aeons, we should always keep in mind the actual literal idea of into. That is, God will be living on into those eras of time in order that he should be living within or during those time periods as well, even as he is living within or during these present hectic times when we need him so much. The fact that I lived during the 1980s is not proof that I now am dead in the 1990s. And if I should say that I am living in the year 1991 and that the Lord willing, I shall be living on into the year 1992, this would give no license to any of those who might translate my words into another language to make a claim and so translate to the effect that while in one case where I used the word year, I actually meant a year, while in another place I used the same word, I did not mean a year at all, even if I did say so. Yet this is just the sort of thing that most translators of the scriptures have done with the words in the original for eon. Most simply lack the insight to see the point of many of the passages that spoke of the eons, since they were able, however, to make sense of these passages by translating it everlasting or eternal. They simply went ahead and did so. Any resultant problems notwithstanding, and much to their and their congregation's detriment. Due to a lack of sensible thinking and an abundance of confidence in the flesh, it is impossible for most to face the fact that the usual translations of this word are quite mistaken and extremely harmful. We believe that God's life will never end, not because of any passage in reference to him, which include the word aeon, but because it is written that his year shall have no end. Psalms 102:27. Furthermore, since God is the source of all life, and since at the consummation all will be gloriously made alive so that he may become all in each one, it is evident that he must ever have life himself in order to impart it to his creatures. Again, capital D, duh. As the Lord declared, seeing that I am living, you also will be living, John 14:19. In light of the fearful nature of the terrible judgments in Revelation, one might infer that all hope is lost. But this is not the case at all. For the living God, who is living today, will be living on as well into the coming eons. The fact that he is said to be living at any time is not declared in order merely to inform us that he still exists, but is a lively figure of association designed to testify to his great power and subjectorship. He lives. He is the living God, and so is great and marvelous, strong to save, and able to do so super excessively above all that we are requesting or apprehending. Ephesians 3:20. Let us rely then on the living God, who is the Savior of all mankind, especially believers. These things be charging and teaching 1 Timothy 4:10 and 11 by the awesome James Coram. And this is just looks to be the chart of the Aeonian times, followed by the blank page. And with that being said, that concluded what I was supposed to be finishing. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please join me again tonight at 6:30. We are doing our very first installment of the Book of John. And I will see you all then. Till then, love, grace, and peace.